Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So this is Frank Skinner. This is Not the Weekend podcast. I'm with Emily, Dean and Alan Cochrane.
Hi, Frank.
Hello.
Hold on. You can have your jingle next week, Alan.
That's Dino.
Let's not over jingle the
Don't
pudding.
ever call me Dino. I told you I was called that once by an ex-boyfriend and I hated it. It was a deal breaker.
Did he make Dino sore? Thank you.
No, but he called me Dino.
That'll be in the next Flintstones movie.
Frank, I won't be called Dino in the bedroom, and that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Producer groaned.
No, I think that's fair enough.
Yes.
I was once reprimanded during a physical act for doing
Physical act.
for doing W.C. Fields' voice. I think that's fair enough. Looking back, Can you just speak to me, Emma? Can I hear you properly? Speak to me.
Oh, can you hear me?
Just about.
Yeah.
Only just.
It's it's slipshod. Let's put it that way.
Slipshod.
Well, that's it. There you go.
Yeah.
We're actually we're adjusting as we go. Can you believe it?
I think we should keep all this in, though.
Adjusting as we go was the song that didn't make Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
It's very
Adjusting
catchy.
as we go, adjusting. Can you imagine that with them sort of messing about with their belts and shoe buckles and stuff? Adjusting as we go, adjusting as we go.
Hated those buckles they wore.
Yeah, what was all that about?
Are they not on trend?
No, I just thought they were a bit aggressive and sort of heavy metal. I didn't like them.
I think for the because of their height, I think it sort of made it all right. They were non-threatening, and also they were earthed.
Built-up shoes.
So I went to I went to two places this week. I went to a garden centre in Chelsea, and it was really lovely. Although I did have a sneezing fit, which I wondered if that might be pollen related. But it was a really beautiful... I said to the young girl at work, I said, this must be a lovely place to work. She went, as one would expect from a young female assistant. What is it with those people?
But I imagine nobody that isn't enjoying their job really likes being told that it should be a lovely place to work. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Exactly.
Like if she's got a moody boss or something like that, and then there's people coming in standing amongst the daffodils and
she had a moody boss. It's a lovely... It's a rose, a name for a rose.
A moody boss?
Yeah. It's like a purple thing. Yeah. I had a couple of cuttings. I don't know what that means, but my dad used to say it sometimes. I've always been ferociously anti-gardening because my dad used to make me go and help him in the garden.
Oh, really?
Oh, did he?
Right off. And I never seemed to be touching any plants. It was all bamboo and string, the sort of things we had to do.
Right.
We had to build a cucumber frame.
Really?
Did you?
Par exemple.
Was Shep digging up the plants off? And I bet he was.
He was, and he'd have been thrashed within an inch of his life.
At different times, weren't they?
Well, it was, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what my dad would do. Sometimes he'd take like a parsnip out the ground, get his penknife and just trim and sit here, eat that. To me, not to Shep. Shep was...
he wasn't allowed within a country mile of your dad's
he
parsnips.
wasn't big on vegetables, I'll be honest with you. He used to bark outside the butchers for bones. I've never once seen him barking outside the greengrocers. They're not interested. Anyway, so it made me think, maybe I've been wrong to turn my back on gardening. Not only that, I don't have a garden, but I don't even have any houseplants at all. I've always put a complete veto on them.
Well, you're a penthouse dweller, but...
yeah, but I could have a yucca.
Oh, you could, Frank.
It'd be the most 70s thing I've ever done.
It does feel like this chat has descended into euphemism when you say you're a penthouse dweller and you say I could have a yucca.
Yeah.
What is the code? Can I have the key to this chat?
I did have
We've been doing it so long we don't even know ourselves anymore.
I lived in a house with a garden, and I had a gardener, actually.
Lovely.
Who used to come round and do it. And what was brilliant about it sounds quite grand, doesn't it, having a gardener? But he was quite a posh bloke.
Oh, really? Great.
And I used to talk to him about what I wanted doing, and I could tell he was thinking, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
The horse is pulling the car. No, the horse should pull the car. The car's pulling the horse. It was like the social spectrum had been turned upside down. He wasn't happy with it.
Well, you are something of a poster boy for social mobility, aren't you?
Well, I like to think so.
Yeah.
I think for the nouveau riche in particular.
Yeah, one of my idols.
Yes.
Frank, as you know, I've got a sort of concrete patch. And...
Well... It serves you right.
You're seeing someone about that, though, aren't you?
The concrete patch, it's a difficult area to tend, Frank, I find.
Does one tend a concrete patch?
Well, do you remember me talking earlier about how U2's gardener was going to come round?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'd got a contact via J-Ro, Jonathan Ross,
All right.
and it turned out to be U2's gardener, and... You questioned, did you two all just have the same garden? I thought it was a fair enough question.
They have a square, like, with a house on each side, is the way I imagine they live, and they all meet in the middle and talk about chords and drum beat things.
Yeah.
Do you think their lawn has got a very neat edge?
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh. Do you know, I love that.
Yeah. Shall we leave it there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good night, everyone. But then I panicked, Frank, because I thought he might find my concrete patch wanting. He was used to the scale of U2.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I got another gardener in. Still via Jonathan Ross.
Okay.
All my handymen come via him.
What band
My
did he
computer
tend?
man, my TV man. What's that, sorry?
He tended the garden of then Jericho. It was a bit of it was a smaller patch, that was. So carry on. Then Jericho's gardener turned up, and what happened?
Well, he came out and he brought a boy with him. And the boy did all the work, to be honest. He was a bit of a kind of 80s man. Very nice. He didn't do anything. He just he art directed, he pointed, and
That's fair enough. He was landscaping.
That's the key
is
to
that what he was doing?
management. It's delegation. The key to management is delegation. It's like Frankie doesn't operate the air conditioning himself, does he? He just stares into the middle distance and says, "I'm warm." and
people put two and two together.
We leap to it. It's like that. He's the boss.
You don't leap to it.
No.
I don't get my hands dirty with any manual labour. Not even operating air conditioning.
But did you find with your gardener, Frank, I felt quite stressed because I like to talk to them. So I felt I had to keep the door open and the cold air was getting in. I didn't like that.
No, I didn't find that at all.
Oh, didn't you? Why not? Did you just not talk?
I don't think he wanted to. He just couldn't understand why I wasn't tugging my forelock all over his concrete patch.
Yeah.
That's what he couldn't work out. No, what put me off having a garden was I was in the kitchen. I had my kitchen abutted the garden. It was, it was a lower floor kitchen. And one night, blow me, if an East European woman wasn't looking through the window from the garden, and I knocked on the window to and shooed her away. She didn't go. Oh. So I went out.
As you do, as a Daily Mail reader.
I remember as I stepped out, I thought this could be... I might never step in this house again. This could be some nutter with a knife. She looked like she was terrorised in some way. So I went out, and this woman was... she was sitting on the floor in the garden. It was dark as well. And I said, who are you? And she said, I have to stay here. I have to meet Christian. And I mean,
oh my God, the OC.
Oh no, you don't think it was a breakfast show scam? No, she said, I have to meet Christian, and you've arranged to meet in my garden. What kind of a rendezvous point is that? And I said, no, you have to go. She said, I can't go from here, I have to meet Christian.
I think the OC had lied about his address, so he seemed a bit more posh and rarefied.
Maybe, but anyway, I phoned the police. And,
do you not think it was just that her...
I did?
Was her English just a bit broken and she was trying to say, I have to meet a Christian?
Well, maybe.
And she saw you as a religious poster boy.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was...
You're a lot of poster boys today.
Was it a feast day? Maybe she'd come round for ashes. Anyway, I phoned the police and they came and took her away.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's a lovely ending to that story. Really
I hope
heartwarming.
the end of this is, and then I woke up and it was all a dream.
No, it definitely happened. But it put me off. I thought that's the trouble with the garden. There's access.
For the Eastern Europeans in the middle of the night looking for Christians.
Just for anyone to turn up.
No, they do get in.
They will.
It's something of a hazard. But surely in your house...
there was a time I would have invited her in and we'd have had a brief relationship, but those days are gone.
Is that all someone had to say to you? I'm looking for Christian.
It would be brilliant,
and you say, well, I do.
It would be brilliant on Mr. and Mrs. How did you meet? Well, she was in my garden one night. She was having a terrible episode and was in quite a a bad state. And we made love.
And I'm an opportunist.
And I am an opportunist. Yeah. How often? How often do you? It's like when Tesco at home, or whatever it's called. It's not often actually in your own garden. I didn't have to put me outdoor shoes on. I just beckoned her in. But it didn't happen. By then, I'd stopped behaving in so flamboyant a fashion. So I just found it frightening. I found it frightening, basically. So that's put me off gardens. But I'm thinking houseplant.
Lovely. Well, have you got a garden now?
Yes, we've got a little back garden. We also have an allotment, which I made a mistake of...
Of course you have an allotment.
Of course he does.
I'm going to be absolutely honest. I do not go.
Does Mrs. Cockrell tend to the allotment?
Mrs. Cockrell goes, and
you have a whippet and an allotment.
Yes, and live in the north of England, and a flat cap. Yes, I've got it all.
Do you have a flat cap?
Yeah. Oh, in fact, I've got two. I don't like to brag.
Have you not seen it?
I'm doing very well.
He looks a bit
Two flat?
He looks a bit sort of Backstreet Boys in his flat cap.
Oh, really?
Tall drummer in the Backstreet Boys.
Is it one of those modern ones where the peak is part of the general curvature of the cap, or is it one with a separate peak?
No, it's just a...
You're hesitating. Don't lie to me now.
It's just a flat cap. Well, I don't know what to say. It's just a flat cap.
Well, there's the ones that look a bit like the cycle helmets, and there's the ones that's got a separate, hard
I know
peak.
what you mean, Frank.
No?
I'll bring them both in next week.
Well,
they'll be out of season by then.
Maybe you could do a drawing.
I think you know exactly what he means.
Genuinely not being willfully
You realise you've got two trendy flat caps you don't want to own up.
No, they're not trendy. They're distinctly not. I mean, one of them was a gift, and well, actually, no, both of them were gifts, but one of them was more recent. But anyway, they're just flat caps.
You didn't win it as part of your Northerner of a Year goodie bag.
Yeah. I was at the Great Yorkshire Show, and it was a throw-out.
Anyway, so I'm thinking houseplants.
Lovely.
I've always fancied, since I was a child, a Venus flytrap.
Oh, yes.
Because I've never actually seen one, I don't think, in the flesh.
Well,
no.
We were talking about things we don't believe in. I'm not sure I believe in them.
You don't believe in the Venus flytrap?
I don't really understand the principle of them. Explain to me, boys.
Well, they're like...
a fly goes by and then they...
Yeah, they're two... They open up and they've got, they're a bit sticky. And they smell, I think, like dog mess. And the fly thinks, up, breakfast, heads towards it, and as it lands, it's a bit sticky and the fly can't get off, and then it closes, like an envelope. If you can imagine a fly in an envelope.
Is it just flies, then? It doesn't trap your finger or something if you put it
No,
in?
I think it will eat any kind. I imagine you could, you could have in breakfast, you could throw it a bit of bacon, right?
Yeah. And then
it's like a very nice waste disposal unit.
Yeah, it's got to be meat-based.
You can't put tea bags in there, no?
No, you need something a bit meaty. Maybe a used plaster.
Lovely.
If there's a bit of blood on it, it'll take that.
And then gradually it starts saying, "Feed me, Seymour," and it becomes a musical or film. What is it?
Good
What's
reference.
that from?
Little Shop of
Horrors.
Yeah, but
I love musicals.
I'm thinking I might get Venus flytrap because I don't, is it annoying when you get flies in the house? Mm-hmm. So you're killing two birds with one stone. Well, actually, two flies with one plant.
With one Venus flytrap.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm assuming that they'll live in our climate.
You know what I'm thinking? This new readiness to take on the care of a plant is because impending fatherhood, and you're realising, I'm responsible enough now.
Maybe you're right.
I'm about to embark on looking after a human. They're just further down the food chain.
I can take on an aspidistra.
If a plant dies, then it's fine. You just move on.
But can you imagine the tragedy of Kath coming in, and the house in chaos. Me with the crying baby, and there's a disposable nappy wedged roughly into the Venus flytrap.
I didn't have time to go to the bin.
A last-ditch attempt to dispose of it. The poor... coming from the plant. Of course, it'd be enough if you swallowed that, there'd be flies galore after. Oh, it's like Renfield in Dracula, eating of flies.
Is it?
Yeah. Try the audiobook.
All his references are Dracula-based, FYI.
They do seem to be for the last few weeks.
I've nearly finished it now, and then it'll go away. But
well, Frank, we've actually had an email in re-Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
This is from Fiona. She says, it was actually, we were talking about non-believers. Do you remember that? A couple of weeks ago. And
things
also Dracula.
Things that we don't believe in, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like the cockerel doesn't believe in Venus flytraps.
Exactly. And there's some other things I don't believe in, which I couldn't possibly say on a commercial radio station.
No, I'm glad you kept those off air.
Many of your topics have piqued my interest. But most recently was the thing that one does not believe in. I don't believe it is actually possible to be struck by lightning. I do not know anyone who has been struck by lightning, and so therefore it cannot be true. I've also recently downloaded Dracula by Bram Stoker.
Excellent.
Little reminder of the writer there, like that. And it's really quite interesting. And I wouldn't go quite as far as to purchase a cloak.
More casual cloakism.
This is the first time I've contacted the show, but overall I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, it's praise. I know you hate praise.
Well, thank you. It's lovely.
You guys are great,
Fiona?
and Alan has a really cute laugh. That's Fiona.
I've never heard it.
I see.
Yeah, but, that's lovely from Fiona.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe. That's weird that she doesn't believe in people being struck by lightning, because do you remember on Saturday's show I was talking about my throw-out thing and getting the book at the sci-fi film? Well, that sci-fi film was supposed to end with a Q&A with the director. And I asked the man who organised the film festival.
What are your view on cloaks?
Yeah, I said what happened to the Q&A, and he said, I had a call from the director to say that his house had been struck by lightning.
No.
So he couldn't come.
No.
Yeah. And I said, my first question was, did you believe him? Because it just sounds... he says, yeah, I think so. He sent quite a long email. And I thought, well, does that make it true? But would you dare, if you were sitting...
Where's he getting his internet connection if his house is struck by lightning?
If you were sitting thinking, I don't want to go to the sci-fi festival, what can I say? And then maybe you had David Bowie's Aladdin Sane album sleeve at your side and you thought, lightning. That's it. But you wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't dare. You know, you could say a stomach upset. You don't have to say my house has been struck by lightning.
No, but if it's the Hitler principle of lie big, maybe that's the way forward. I'm not suggesting Hitler is the way forward, but you know what I mean.
No.
And actually, I do always think with lightning, I've only ever seen people in the sun with an imprint of a necklace. They always show that, don't they? How the necklace saved their life and things.
Well, have you ever looked up lightning on Google Images?
No, never.
Well, page 1, it might have changed, I suppose.
Page 1.
Last time I looked on Google Images lightning, there's a man who's struck on the back, and the scar actually looks like lightning. Looks exactly like lightning.
What were you typing in? White lightning, I think. This was back in the day.
Well, of course, that is a Fall track.
Oh.
And it's a cover of a Jean...
Miss Jean Brodie?
No, Jean Vincent
Pitney.
Cover. Who wants to hear this? Nobody. I'm terribly sorry for those of you listening thinking, what is this, an interlude? Well, you were damn well right, it was. So I think people do get struck by lightning. I bet you some of our listeners have been struck by lightning, but whether they'll be comic tales, I don't know.
Or whether or not they'll be able to let us know. They might just be lying there thinking, it's good to hear this, but I can't respond.
Or lying there still smoking. Yeah. Oh, no, I don't like that at all.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
On the subject of your Dracula audiobook, we have had an email in saying, "Hi Frank, I'm the person that stopped you to say hello on Waterloo Bridge today.
Oh, yes.
Sorry for disturbing your Dracula audiobook. I wouldn't normally stop."
I said to him, I think, it's lovely to meet you, but I'm listening to my Dracula audiobook.
Did you have to take the headphones out and talk to him?
No, I spoke to him meanwhile in the background.
Oh.
I bet you don't get that from Simon Cowell or Wrighty if you run into them.
No, probably not. No, he did show me his phone and he was listening to the podcast, so I thought he's
nice.
going to know. He's going to know about the Dracula audio book.
I quite often bump into people when I'm on dog walks and I've got a podcast on and I'm making small talk.
Dog
walks,
is that a TV show?
Yes. No, I'm doing it.
Oh, you're listening to the podcast?
I've got the other podcasts, quite often philosophy ones or literature, science.
Yeah.
Any Descartes?
Who? Never heard of him. Descartes, yeah.
Yes, I'm afraid you put the Descartes before the horse.
Anyway, this chap, I wouldn't normally stop a celeb, but I'm a huge fan of yours and the show. Hi, gorgeous Emily and the Cockerel. But as I was listening to you just seconds earlier, I couldn't resist. What I should also say is that I live in Boston and just flew in yesterday, so my chances of ever saying hello to Frank Skinner again were very slim. I'm in town for a very special occasion. Tomorrow my mother gets an MBE for her services to charity. I would really love if you could read this out, as my entire family are friends of the show. Thanks and sorry for disturbing you, Rob.
Well, had I known you were over from Boston very briefly, I might have actually took my earplugs out. What do you call them?
Earphones. Headphones? Yeah.
Whatever.
Cans.
So
I like a thanks and sorry for disturbing you sign off.
Yeah, I like it. It's a bit
humble.
I'm sorry if I seemed
a bit Mr. Cellophane. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Yeah, I feel bad about it now.
Do you?
Yeah.
But it was quite a key moment.
But it is a brief encounter. I had a thing.
I think it was Van Helsing's description of King Laugh, which for me is the best bit in the whole book so far.
But this podcast sometimes, or this radio show, in fact, catches up with you sometimes, as it has here. I was in the street going for a dog walk and a run the other day, so I had running shoes, shorts, t-shirt.
Simultaneous.
And the dog, I try and
That's the
exercise.
advantage of having a whippet.
Oh, lovely.
Good
You
for a
couldn't do
whippet.
that with Shep, Frank, could
Very
you?
good.
He wouldn't have it.
Good for having a whippet. Anyway.
You'd have to slow down while he pulled his bottom along the pavement. He used to do that thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that they do.
Yeah, when they pull their...
Dragging their bum on the floor.
Yeah, it's very...
I do that.
It's like the opening credits of Ironside.
So I'm walking around the corner, and there's a cafe round the corner from me that I go in sometimes, and we know the cafe. Well, we know the gentlemen that run it, and one of them saw me in my shorts and went, "Oh, I've heard about those black shorts," and. Honestly, for about 2 hours, I was thinking my wife's been in there gossiping, or the neighbours have been talking about my legs in my shorts. And then I had a eureka moment, because earlier that day I'd been talking to him about how they now listen to the show on Saturday mornings.
Oh, there you go.
And I thought, I talked about my PE kit that I take away to hotels on the show.
Of course.
And so when he said I've heard about those black shorts, he meant me talking about them rather than other people.
Yeah, you do.
Do you know what?
Paranoia, though, was...
I'm glad he cleared that up, because that would have been. I would have found that a little bit sinister.
Well, he didn't. I still have no proof. It still could have been a neighbour gossiping about my legs in my blablack shorts.
Perhaps he meant black shorts in general.
I've heard about those black shorts. He's only ever worn coloured or white shorts.
Yeah, so he's always thought black shorts might be a hazard. Because they're not so visible to drivers.
True enough, but
I've heard about those. I've never actually seen a pair of black shorts before.
Maybe
actually, they look all right.
Maybe you're saying black shirts. It was a political statement he was making.
You thought I had one of my history podcasts.
Were you with some of Sir Oswald Mosley's followers at the time?
He thinks he looks very Aryan, and he's saying, "I've heard about those black shirts."
Well, that's why I don't worry about the black shorts and the.
Maybe he saw one of his legs and said, "That's an Aryan." I think we're steadily chipping away and getting to the kernel of this.
That's a Aryan.
The Colonel
Sanders.
Not the Colonel. No, the Kernel.
Oh, my legs aren't particularly hairy. They're very pale though, so it compensates if the black shorts are too dark for drivers to see me.
You're lucky they're going to stop anyway, because I think it's a zebra crossing.
Exactly. Often I'm walked across.
What you need is a very heavily tanned face. And you'll have the complete zebra crossing setup.
Like that woman who's Frank's favourite woman of the whole year. With the very tan
Oh,
face.
yeah, the tan
You loved
mum.
her, didn't
Super
you?
tan mum.
Tan mum. I don't know what the fuss was about, but that's another story.
On the subject of my leg hair, did you see...
Can we just say, though, congratulations to this woman who's got an MBE for charity work.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We don't have her name, unfortunately.
Let's just call her Rob's mum.
Rob's mum, well done. And I don't know what the charity is. I'm imagining when you turn up, if you get an MBE for charity work, you have to wear a red nylon wig and a big T-shirt and rattle a bucket at the Queen.
Maybe.
But well done, and how lovely to have a mum who's got an MBE. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Worth coming from Boston for.
Oh, I should think so, yeah. It's a long trip.
You been to Boston?
No.
Cold when I went.
All right.
I went in January. It's absolutely... I queued for a shop to open so I could buy one of those, those Elmer Fudd hats that you tie under your chin.
Yeah.
The wind chill was... It was outrageous. Next.
My hairy legs provide a neat segue to... Did you see the woman on the telly and in the papers with the hairy armpits?
The hairy lady. Did you see her?
Emma O'Toole or something?
I believe so.
I have a theory about this person.
Come on, then.
Absolutely serious, not a comic theory.
We should say, shouldn't we? So she appeared on the... It appeared to be... It was quite a slow news week.
Was it this morning she was on?
I believe so.
She was.
And she was in the Daily Mail Natch. Because essentially she hadn't shaved her armpits or her legs.
And who is she again?
She's just a lady, Frank.
She's not
a 28-year-old
she's not even a celebrity.
woman called Emma O'Toole, her name is.
And
Emma,
she's not,
E-M-E-R. Interesting.
Oh, I thought she was in...
Emma.
She's not in a TV programme of any kind.
Don't
Not
think
to my
so.
knowledge.
So she
You've
got
gone off
on
her now.
She got on
You've
for
actually
that
gone
reason.
off her.
Yeah.
No, I tell you, you know what? We've been talking about a lot about things we don't believe just lately. I didn't believe that it was genuine, the armpit hair.
Didn't you?
Really?
There was one photo where there was a slight sheen, as if it was coming from the tape that held it.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm not joking now. I honestly think they were perhaps in makeup before, and one of the women said, "Oh, I've got these. These were the sideburns for the handsome cab driver in in Downton Abbey." And then she said, "Oh, look at this." And she said, "Oh God, that looks great." She put that on, and it's all a bit. And now they're in a situation where they're ashamed to say, "Well, actually, it was just we were just messing about." It seems to be growing in all the wrong parts of the armpit.
It was a bit Brian Blessed, wasn't it?
It's going too far up the arm. I honestly don't. I think it's a hoax. I mean,
know what?
One of
There's
TV's greatest pranks.
I think it is.
There's nothing I love more than Frank when he's got a conspiracy theory cob on.
I'm not saying it was I'm just saying she's turned up. I mean, I think that the hairy legs were genuine because it'd be too big a job.
Yeah.
The individual. You could use a hair fix.
Well, no, mascara. Make them darker.
Or a bit of double-sided sticky tape. In fact, you could just wrap your whole legs in double-sided sticky tape and walk through some cotton wool or something.
Well, I should say, my friend once wrote a feature for a national newspaper about not shaving her legs.
Okay.
And for the photograph, they did use mascara to make the hair look thicker.
Right.
So a little inside.
They do that for
info there.
gentlemen who have fair beards if they're in the theatre.
Was that right?
They pop a bit of eyeliner and mascara in there, make
Lovely.
it darker.
Yeah, I used to. When I had sideburns briefly, and they didn't join to the rest of my hair.
Yes.
So I had to fill in that. We had to build a sort of
I call it an
bridge.
isthmus. Yes.
Yeah, a sort of an isthmus. Yeah.
I would probably read it as isthmus.
Yeah, it was. I had a hairy isthmus, and not a bad New Year. So I don't believe it. And furthermore, I went out with a French lady who didn't shave her armpit.
You didn't have to say the second bit. You just had to say French lady, and we knew that.
And it didn't bother me in the slightest.
Very much so.
I didn't. I mean, how often do you see under a woman's armpit?
No, you don't look often, do you?
No, I don't have...
I look away,
I
just
don't
in
have the
case.
gymnastic rings hanging from my bedroom ceiling or all that now. Also, I'm inclined to swaddle a one-night stand. Otherwise, I find they flail about, and, you could lose a valuable ornament. But, I'm just saying if that's all right to say. Apparently not.
The thing I would say about underarm hair is that it traps sweat. So that is a sweat area. it doesn't make... You might not be as daisy fresh as ladies who shave, is all I'm saying.
Well, if it traps
maybe you guys
fresh,
like that.
If it traps sweat, presumably it traps deodorant as well.
Mm.
Whereas I find deodorant just slips right off me.
Mm.
I'm not very hairy on the armpit front.
Oh, I'm
I don't
delighted
shave.
we now all know that.
Yeah, I hardly have any.
I'm pretty hairy.
Aren't any at all.
I think.
Well, we've already established, as Kath once said to me, one of the things that first attracted her to you was the one thing I'll say about Frank, he's absolutely spotless.
Yeah, she used to say the great thing about you never smell.
Mm.
He's a very clean old man.
Lovely. She never said I was a very clean old man.
Hard day's night.
I think you've added a component to that description. I can't quite work out what it is, but there's something there that wasn't there in the earlier form. Anyway, I don't think it was real.
Did you see Amanda Platel in the Daily Mail said that seeing the woman's armpit hair made her want to see her breakfast. She nearly parted company with her breakfast again. She wrote a big column saying how disgusting it was.
It was disgusting that she used the phrase parted company with my breakfast, because it's a phrase I've heard quite a lot for people use who think, well, I don't want to say sick, so I'll say I party cup with my breakfast, and it sounds like I'm a bit, I've done something a bit original. But lots of people say it, so why say it? Put it in a column. If you're going to write something, I want it fresh and original, not just using other people's phrases.
Well,
she also said yikes, which was very plugged from the Beano.
Yikes, I'm happy with.
And her genuine sort of outrage at the idea of a woman with body hair reminded me of when we had a supply teacher when I was about 15, and she hadn't shaved her armpit hair or her legs, and the schoolboys were outraged and repulsed, and then you think, well, she's a grown-up woman, she shouldn't be so scared of it, just live and let live, Amanda. But it's not like the Daily Mail to use a female writer to hate other females, is it? I wonder where they get them.
I interviewed Shania Twain once, and she told me she didn't shave in the winter months.
Oh, really? She put a winter coat on?
Yeah, exactly.
Big brown bear.
She let it grow. I wouldn't thought there was a lot of warmth in it.
Was she swimming the channel or something? Was there some
I don't know. I mean, she's a country girl, isn't she? So I suppose it's sort of thing they might do
right
when they're in the Yukon. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know why, I was just thinking of men with hairy backs there. That's all.
Yeah.
Where do you two stand on hairy backs?
Well, should have gone to neck shavers. That's what I think. I have less hair than I used to have. I'm losing I'm molting.
You're not hirsute, Frank. I'll say that for you.
No, but my hairs now, my legs rather, are completely. There's not a hair on them.
Well, rather than swimming, you should perhaps take up the cycling. That sounds like you're fit for it.
Yeah.
I noticed when you did that swim, actually, you're lovely and smooth.
Or shoplifting. If I added a bit of olive oil they wouldn't be able to get any purchase on me at all.
When you're fleeing, when
I'm fleeing, I'd slip straight through the grasp.
So you'd just run in a pair of Speedos and perhaps an upper body jacket with plenty of pockets, and then run out, assuming that they'd go for the rugby tackle, but your olive oil would
they wouldn't be able
free
to.
you.
Yeah, it'd be like trying to hold on to a big carp.
Well, you are well moisturised anyway, aren't you? You want to describe yourself as being...
I am now after that mental image. We're doing way too long here. People are already at work.
I know.
They've got the boss. They're at work now thinking, well, I want to hear the end of this. Here comes Mr. Baxter. Boy, am I in trouble when he sees my earplugs, phones, headphones, whatever it is. Put in your ears.
We haven't got time for a quick update on Steve Davies.
Oh, go on.
Okay. We were talking about him not so long ago.
We'll leave you with this one.
Sound like your manager.
That's what they say, isn't it?
Further to your discussion, this is from Andrew, by the way.
I was saying last week, by the way, that if the only person I'd go to, one of the people I'd go to Heathrow just to see walk-through arrivals would be Steve, the Romford robot, Davies, because I think he's a much more intelligent, interesting man than people...
And we established you wouldn't even talk to him. You just wanted to see him.
I'm happy just to see him. Maybe I'll take a Northern Soul fanzine if there's a throw-out.
Well, Andrew says, further to your discussion about former snooker world #1 Steve Davies and his Northern Soul fanzine, you may be interested to know that he now hosts a radio show called The Interesting Alternative Show on a local station in Brentwood, Essex. Also, He was once spotted in the crowd at one of my band's gigs at a pub on Southend seafront. A man of broad musical tastes, evidently.
And who's that from?
This is from Andrew.
Well, how do we know he's got Brooke? Because we don't know what the band play.
I'll tell you
I think we can guess.
I think
it could be Andrew Lloyd Webber who's written it.
No, I think he's...
it could have been a string quartet he'd gone to see, fair enough.
I think he's making a little joke. I think if you think about this, he's a fan of Northern Soul, and he's also going to watch a gig in Southend.
Is that in the north?
So he's got broad musical tastes. He's going north and south.
No, that's not the joke. You've read something into that.
Northern Soul and Southend
overanalyzed
seafront. It's
can't. Not Andrew wouldn't have meant that.
I think Andrew's making a little joke.
You've over-egged the pudding.
Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's making a little joke.
I was at Andrew Lloyd Webber's house once.
Clang.
And 11 o'clock
Stick
in
around.
the morning. Stick around for this one. 11 o'clock in the morning, knock on the door. Who is it? Bobby V.
Bobby V.
Not in a shorty silk dressing gown.
Bark up. No, he's just done a gig and he's nipped round to Lord Webber's. Lord Lloyd Webber, is that what it's called?
In the morning?
11 o'clock at night.
Oh.
And he comes in and we had a bit of a chat with Bobby V.
What, he came into your bedroom?
No, I wasn't staying over.
Oh, okay.
I was just sitting. I just had dinner with...
So what did Bobby V have? Like a cup of Ovaltine and then everyone went their separate ways?
No, I don't know what. He just, I think he had a Vimto. That's how he got his name, Bobby V. That's what I've been told. I'm really impressed by Steve. I haven't heard Steve's show on, is it Phoenix FM? Is that what it's called? But anyway, I looked up...
called it the Interesting Alternative.
Yeah, I looked up, and the playlist is, a lot of it I just didn't know. I mean, it's really, like, obscure. I mean, it's got, Soft Machine he's playing on a regular basis.
Wow.
Sort of prog rock, and... So I'm going to have a listen. I tell you, I think he's a genius. If it's all, Stephen Fry this, Stephen Fry that. It's Stephen Davies, that's what everyone ought to look up to. I think he's... Honestly, I think he's
Andrew
like
Cole, Stephen Davies.
Now, I know I've only been doing this show under a year, but is it really good etiquette to recommend other radio stations on an Absolute podcast?
I think it's... I don't see that.
The powers that be are listening.
I think it's on a Monday night.
Okay.
And also, to the podcast. It's fine. I just think it's really... I think... Isn't he the perfect mate? He's like a big muso. And he's good at snooker.
Yeah.
And he's... I'm afraid the Archbishop of Canterbury is on borrowed time. My next move is for Steve Interesting Davies, who genuinely is. It turns out the nickname wasn't ironic. I tell you, he's the future.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.